There it is. What is going on, folks? This is Courtney Rollins with the Life in Transitions Experts podcast. Here, so excited with an expert in the field, Miss Ashley Fairley, the probate real estate solutionist from all the way from Atlanta, hot Atlanta. How are you doing?
I am excellent. How are you, Courtney?
Oh, I am well. I am great. I'm rolling. I really appreciate you giving me your time, folks. If you're new to this channel, well, I'm over on Facebook, so would love for you guys to, if you're on Facebook, yeah, you jump in, you hop on, you have questions or comments or anything you want to leave for Ashley, please do so. This is great if it's participatory. If it's just me getting the chance to ask you questions, Ashley, I feel very blessed and privileged to be able to do that. But I just want to make sure I take care of some housekeeping. And just also, folks, if you're not listening to this on the podcast with the intro, the Life and Transition Experts is a community, a space where professionals who are dedicated to helping folks come up with solutions to some of life's biggest challenges, such as probate or sometimes estate plan, or really just selling, buying, transitioning from a home. That is an experience. And so one of the reasons that I'm so glad Ashley Fairley is on here is because we met through one of these probate real estate groups. Was it All the Leads or was it Probate Mastery with Chad Corbett?
Yeah, definitely probate mastery. Yeah.
Chad Corbett. Well, cool. Well, let me shut up and let people hear about you, Miss Ashley Fairley. What's going on? Who are you, and how did you get into real estate?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure to join your podcast. I see you've been doing your thing, so kudos to you. Kudos. So a little bit about me. I'm Ashley Fairley, as Courtney shared. I'm a real estate advisor, probate solutionist. I actually specialize. Probate is one of my areas of specialty, so that's why I call myself the probate solutionist. My team and I. We have a bunch of resources and professionals that we partner with locally to help families that are going through the probate process. It can be small things like, helping the house cleaned out, a referral for a cleaning company, all the way to if that property needs to be sold or rented or, just whatever they need to make that process easier. So that's kind of my probate arm. And then, of course, on the regular real estate side of things, I help buyers and sellers. I'm building a team. So I also work with agents. So my big thing is just helping everyone to curate their ideal lifestyles through real estate.
Curate their ideal lifestyle through real estate. Oh my goodness, I like that. Lifestyle Collective. They said certified mentor. I see that back there on your handle. What is that?
Yeah.
Can you explain more about that? What does that mean? How does that work with the world of real estate?
Yeah, so with my brokerage, which is EXP, right? I'm brokered by EXP. So there's a certified mentor program. So basically, when newer agents come into the brokerage, they get assigned a mentor. And so as agents at the brokerage, we can apply to be a part of the mentor program and basically give back to those agents and, pour into them, help them with their first couple of transactions. It really makes a lot of difference when you have that person that you can kind of go to. Of course, you have your broker, you have office staff and all these different things, but it's just another thing when you have another agent that's there, boots on the ground with you, that you can talk to, bounce things off of. So that's what that is. So yeah, so basically people come on, new agents. I mentor them. I help them through their first couple transactions, make sure they don't mess anything up or do anything crazy, and just make sure they feel supported.
So Ashley Fairley, a young little girl, little lady, was it always your dream to work in the world of real estate? But how did that get there? How'd you get there?
That's a crazy. So actually it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So literally since I was old enough to even be conscious of what I wanted to do with myself, right? You ask little kids, what do you want to do? You have a little career day or whatever. I always said that I wanted to be an attorney, like always. I never changed, like from like little all the way up to college. Attorney never changed, right? I get to my junior year of college. And one of my professors, I studied paralegal studies in school and English were my two majors. So I was going to be, on the track to going to law school, right?
Right.
So I get to my junior year and my professor, I'm very observant. I'm not a very chatty or talkative person, but I'm very observant. Like I watch everything. So I was just, watching this professor, like she was a, kind of mid-aged lady. She had just had twins and, a little older for being just had twins. And so
Mm.
I was just talking to her one day. I was like, how do you like being a professor? How do you like practicing law? And she was really brutally honest with me.
Right.
And she said she loves it, right? She loves law, but it's a lot of sacrifice from a lifestyle perspective
Mm.
in terms of like being able to have kids at a certain time, just the workload. And, I was going to go into entertainment law. So that's very demanding. Like you're dealing with
Mhm.
celebrities, big companies, like when they want you, you have to
Goes
be
on their
there,
time, I'd imagine.
So
Uh,
I was just looking at that. I was like, I don't want that life for myself. I want to have a family. I want to have time freedom. I want to have income freedom because you can make a decent income as an attorney, but there you start getting to a point where it's a little bit of a cap.
mm.
It's not a cap, but it's a place of kind of when you start balancing the work ethic for what you're making, it can be a cap. And so at that time, I was like, you know what? Can't do it. Like it's not gonna give me the lifestyle. I've always been on this lifestyle kick. That's why it's a big part of my brand. Like
Yeah.
lifestyle. Like why are we here if we're not living in the way we want to be living?
Right. One life to
Like what's the point,
live, as far as I
right?
understand, right?
What's the point? And so I literally said, no, I'm not going to do it. And so I went on and graduated, got my paralegal degree, but I didn't go to law school.
Mhm.
And so after college, I said, okay, well, let me I came to Atlanta. That's when I moved to Atlanta. Came to Atlanta, didn't know what I was going to do. Had a whole early life crisis.
Oh
And
man.
then I decided to get into sales. It's easy to get sales jobs. Everybody hiring for salespeople. So I've had all the sales jobs in the world from roofing to like everything. And so I ended up selling cars. That's my most recent sales job before I got into real estate. And so literally I was doing great at that. But once again, that time freedom thing came up and the income cap came up. And I was like, huh. And so I've always been interested in real estate from the investment side. And so I was like, I should go get my real estate license. I'm in sales
Mhm.
already, it's a higher ticket item. It just made sense. And so literally got licensed and I've been licensed ever since.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, that's such a theme that seems to come out, Ashley. People drawn to real estate based on the time freedom and based on the like just the lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah, because I can imagine like thinking about as a child wanting to be an attorney, but recognizing the impact that you can make, you're still trading your time
Yes.
for money. And even with the car dealership, even though these are high ticket items, and but you're able to the impact that you're able to make is a little different
Oh, yeah.
with real estate here. But well, that's pretty cool. What about probate though? Like because that's I mean, I can see a marriage between the law, desire,
Yeah.
and life and their style. But tell us more about. Matter of fact, let's back up. If anybody maybe watching this, we have Circle Influence. Maybe somebody's checking it out. What is probate? Yeah, what is probate to help folks understand if they're new to this?
Yeah, absolutely. So probate is the legal process of dealing with one's assets after their passing, right? And so for a lot of people, it can be a very stressful process. It can be overwhelming. It can be unexpected. And so I really wanted to get into space because I do have that interest in law.
Yeah.
And so I just felt like it would be a niche that I could really make some impact in. And it was an underserved niche. You don't really hear about a lot of realtors or just people in general specifically focusing on probate, unless they're investors. A lot of investors can focus on probate, but not from the real estate side. You don't see that a lot. And so I was like, I should look into that. That kind of fits my personality. I'm very, type A, very, organized, and it just seemed like a natural fit.
Yeah. Well, how long were you practicing or working as an agent and even an investor before you started digging deeper into probate?
Probate is actually pretty recent for me. I actually
Yeah,
started
cool.
digging into probate last year.
Oh, very
Last
cool.
year.
And you were agent. I'm sorry, you did say your agent. How long did you was as an agent?
I've been licensed since 2016.
Oh
So
yeah,
going,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
So please tell me can you what are some of the difference between the quality of the people you serve and help out in a traditional real estate transaction compared to folks you're helping out in probate?
It can be totally different, especially from the seller perspective, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, the normal seller that you work with as an agent, a lot of times they may be just wanting to upgrade their home. They may be moving for a job relocation. It could be a military family, it could be things like that, right? These types of just life circumstances, normal situations.
Mhm.
And then sometimes people just sell because it makes sense to sell, right? It's a good from an investment perspective. From the probate perspective, I would say the biggest difference is those people typically have to sell, or they're in a space to where it's, you know, it's really important or critical what they decide to do with that property. Whereas a lot of times on the regular side of real estate, while it is very important and critical, obviously we're dealing with someone's largest investment. It's
Mhm.
just a different set of urgency, and it's a different set of seriousness and emotion that's involved on the probate side.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a totally different client. You're kind of dealing with typically on people on the probate side, when they decide to sell, it's because they need to sell and they're really serious about selling. Whereas on the other side, it could just be that's just what they want to do. But if it doesn't sell, oh, I just hold on to it. I'll keep it a little longer. You know, it's not a must. And so that I would say is the biggest difference.
Right. And I can imagine that motivation. Well, not imagine, I mean, that's the world that I live in as well. And, people ask all the time, my job, I primarily am a wholesaler, also an investor as well, but my job is to get properties or to help folks out. That's how I
Yeah.
get properties at a discount, or well, not even a discount, under terms that will help me or the other buyer make money and solve that person's problem, hopefully. So there has to be some motivation there. And I can imagine if you're serving, traditional sellers who don't necessarily have to sell, that's just
Yeah.
more spread out and all.
It's a different ball game. It's a
Yeah.
different ball game,
So how do
especially
you,
when you're in a market where it's not, as good as for sellers.
especially Atlanta? Oh, I got so many questions about Atlanta. Let me make sure I make
Uh-oh.
it. But how do you generate your probate leads to the people that you try to help out? How do you find them?
Yeah, primarily, I do have a service that pulls, the list from the
Mhm.
county. So the probate clerk
Oh,
comes
cool.
from there. So I do that. And then I do have, a website. And so I do market online,
Website too.
and just word of mouth, a lot of referral, things like that.
So you all check out the tag, what we call them, the show notes and all that good stuff. And I'll definitely let you ask you to at the end to share your information so people can hear it, can hear it out loud there. Uh, but another thing that I feel like I found, I wonder if you found this too, is that like even the quality of conversation. Like I know that we both, as we said earlier, come from the same type of or around the same type of training that frames you
Mhm.
coming in not just as a hey, let me buy your property, but
Yes.
hey, what's the biggest problem you have going through probate? How can I help you? And that's to me, what I've experienced is, I still get people like, who are you talking about?
Mhm.
But when they hear what we're talking about and they really hear that, hey, we have a value to offer, then they're much more receptive. They're much more warm. They're great. And it's not that me coming, hey, I'm looking to buy your property wasn't bringing value. It's just a different frame. And I wondered, did you see that? And if so, what that look like, or if not, what do you see as far as the
Yeah.
conversations?
I definitely see that. And it really should be that way across the board. I
Right.
really think that any professional offering any service should approach their service like that, right? How can I provide value? How can I help you? Everything from the perspective of the client. So it really should be that way from the get-go. But I will say going through the program and becoming a certified probate expert definitely changed my mindset and really change the way I frame conversations. Even on my retail side of my regular side of my business,
Right.
right?
Oh, that's
It
awesome.
changed the way I frame them from, just the real estate, the business, the investment to these are people, right? Like they're going through crazy life changes. These people, a lot of times they may be so emotional, they may be overwhelmed, they may be stressed. And so it caused me to kind of have to slow down and really kind of focus on like, where are these people at? and how can I help them based on where they are right now? Not like me trying to get them through a process or get them to the next thing, but just like what can I do for them right now that's going to ease them and make them feel more comfortable and take a little stress off of them. So that was actually really refreshing about the program. And I feel like that's really what makes it different than a lot of types of probate certifications and things like that, because it really is, client and people focused.
Yeah, there's no script. There's no, hey, say this slick things,
No.
do that and all. I mean, there's still a, just like any sales training, understanding of psychology, because we
Oh
want
yeah.
to help people out and speak the same language. But shoot, well, what about 5 years from now? Where is Ashley 5 years from now? The real estate advisor and lifestyle. I always say lifestyle collective, I'm reading it right there, but they're curator. I want to say curator, but then I read collective down there at the bottom. Yeah, the lifestyle curator. Yeah.
Yeah. Living my best life, but also helping a lot of people live theirs.
All right.
Right? Helping my agents that are in my organization, helping them create beautiful lives for themselves, create beautiful incomes, beautiful, just everything, right? Just creating whatever ideal life looks like for them, right? It doesn't have to be fancy cars, this, that. That's not what everybody's looking for. It's whatever it looks like for you. If your ideal lifestyle is waking up and just being able to spend time with your kids and not have to, really just jump right into work, that's what I want to help people do. So I want to help a ton of people do that. I also want to have a team in place to help a ton more probate families go through this process and just get more word out about what probate is, how you can possibly avoid it, getting more attorney partners, right, in my arsenal that can help these people with more estate planning on the front end. So where we're not even really dealing with as much, of probate. Is definitely the ultimate goal.
That, my gosh, man, success leaves clues, and there's so many things that I keep hearing. You're the umpteenth person who's really dealing in probate real estate, and then eventually they're going to say something about helping families avoid probate. And that sounds, I mean, for me and for us, we how we really make our money is by solving the solutions that deal with the property and the stuff. And so it may sound weird for someone like Ashley or even me to be pushing for estate planning, which would possibly not allow us to, do a deal for transaction. But I wonder, like, one, like we said, referencing back our approach. I think our approach, whether we're able to help somebody with an estate plan or help somebody point them in the right directions, the Zig Ziglar, you help enough people out, you're going to get anything you want. I'm butchering it, but the whole, you help people get enough what they want, you get everything you want. It's so true. But I'm circling this. I'm coming around the circle with this question here. It's coming back. But Atlanta, cities like Atlanta, I was working out of Baltimore, cities like Detroit, these places I'm in Durham, these very strong Black, brown spaces. What are your thoughts? I don't even want to lead the question on the particular skill sets you have and the amount of Black home ownership that's perhaps being transitioned or lost or changed as a result of just a lot of factors. I try to be as very neutral as possible, not to lead the question right there, Ashley. But so what do you see happening in Atlanta with a lot of the home ownership being changed, and where do you fit in? There we go.
Oh my goodness, such a loaded question.
Yeah.
Such a loaded question. Let's see, which angle do I want to take this from? So I'll start with, we need much, 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 much more home ownership, right? Just to start, right? That's the first thing. I definitely feel like even with Atlanta, being chocolate city, or, as people call it, we still need a lot more people owning homes and not renting. Rents here are astronomical. And it's really getting into a place where it's affecting the overall wealth progression of people here, right? Because, we have all these major companies, your Microsofts, your Googles, all these companies are coming here. And with that growth, it's raising the prices, it's raising rents to, we're gonna, at the rate we're going, we're getting into New York, we're getting into California, you know what I'm
Ooh,
saying?
my
In terms
goodness,
of,
yeah, Atlanta, good gracious.
if it keeps up this pace, it used to be where Atlanta was considered, oh, it's affordable. You can go to Atlanta and buy a mansion, and live great. It's unfortunately not that as much. And so I feel like a large part of how we can remedy that inflation is by owning real estate. Not even just about living in the real estate, but just owning it, right? And investing in real estate, having other sources of income to help shield you from that inflation, because it's coming. And I hear it when I'm talking to my clients. I have clients that are making, low, mid six figures plus. And because of how expensive the market is getting, they feel like that money isn't getting them far.
Oh man.
And I hate that, hurts my heart, because they feel like, oh, I worked so hard all these years and I wanted to reach this pinnacle, and now I'm at the pinnacle and it feels like the goalpost just got moved.
Right.
So, that's a lot of what I'm seeing. So I would say a lot of growth, a lot of price inflation, a lot of just cost in general across the board are just very, very high. And of course, if we compare this to somewhere like a New York or like a California, right now, we're still relatively affordable compared to that. But it's definitely increasing. So I would say for Atlanta, for the Black and brown population, get into ownership, even if it's not your property to live in. Get some real estate, get some multiple types of income coming in outside of just what you do.
I love that. And also what's awesome about the support that you provide is helping people recognize that, hey, your grandma, your uncle's property, y'all need to go ahead, let's meet up, let's all have a will party. I'm helping a client out. This is awesome. And I didn't even come up with this idea, but she's going through a probate. And so she sat down with her family and surprised them with a will party, with everybody. She brought in an attorney, or not attorney, but a notary, I suppose.
Okay.
Had them sit down and they hashed it out and talked it out, and they wrote out their will. And the will, folks, Ashley and I are not attorneys, even though
no, we're not.
Play one on YouTube channel. No kidding. We're not attorneys or not offering financial advice, but a will is a great thing to have.
Yes.
But there are also other remedies to have too as well. So definitely if you're in the Atlanta area or really anywhere, holler at Ashley so she can point you in the right direction with, I'm sure that you can connect folks with the right attorneys to help them out.
Yeah. Absolutely. I am always growing my attorney network. I have several strong partners just from, of course, the other side of the business, but always looking for even more partners because I want to have resources for people everywhere. That's my thing. Wherever you are, I got a plug for you. I got somebody to connect you with.
Exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like I cut you off. My bad, but I apologize. I was just saying real quick that that is just as you were saying, as far as ownership, like we live, as long as you have a phone or Google or Wi-Fi somewhere, really is almost no excuse anymore because we live in information age, and you have people like Ashley and folks putting information out there and willing to help point you in the right direction, because we need to know the rules of the game so that we can play them right, play them the way we want to play them.
Yes, absolutely. And stop selling these houses when you don't have to.
And
I know that sounds crazy as a real estate, right? Because I make money on people selling houses, but it's not all about that. Like you said, I believe you help people, you're going to get everything. I'm going to get everything I need. I'm not worried about that, right? I'm worried about impacting and helping as many people as possible, right? And then so in certain situations, it doesn't make sense to sell that property. That's an income source. You're selling basically a money tree. Listen, if you had a money tree outside of your front yard, and that tree was making you X amount of dollars every year, and all you had to do is just, water it a little bit, do a little maintenance. Would you go and chop that tree down or sell it to somebody? No, because it's making you money. And so people have to really start thinking about this. You mentioned like grandma's house and all this other stuff. And so I've run into those scenarios, and people talk to me and they tell me, hey, we're going to keep the house. I always say, good for you. Good for you. Keep that house. Keep it going. And then also talking to people about strategies, because you don't always have to sell the house. It may just be that you may want to get a renter in there. If
Right.
depending on where the property is, you could do even maybe a short-term rental or something like that that may even be more profitable. Housing for nurses, different things that you can do with real estate. And so part of what I do is I also consult people on what's the best use for that property. Not just, oh, let me come sell your house. It's what makes most sense for you.
Solution Nest. That's
Yes,
what's
the
up.
probate solutionist. That's it.
That's awesome. That is amazing. That's I like being around like-minded folks who are trying to serve at a high level. I know there's a gentleman that we've connected with also, Bill Gross, and he
Mm-hmm.
recommended that you take a look at get your circle of friends, a circle of influence, and call them up and literally ask them, hey, do you have you know do you have how did you buy your property? What is the deed in? Did you have a will? Basically
Mm-hmm.
ask them about their estate planning, because I'm learning too that I don't I at a high level, I don't want anything in my name. I want to be able to control everything, but I don't want
Yes.
to have anything in my name, especially pass away with anything in my name. So my family and I are now talking about trust. My mom, one of my biggest fans, I think she's watching on Facebook. She just
Oh, hey, mama.
mad at me now because I actually set up us to have a conversation with an attorney last week, but the attorney we had to reschedule. But she expected me to still come down there and say hey to her and all that good stuff. I'm like, we
Yeah,
rescheduled. What's
you gotta
up?
look at her, baby. Mama's they just gotta look at you.
Yeah.
Gotta
So I'm
look at
sorry, Bob, but we gonna make that happen. Mom,
you.
Dad, my brother, and everybody. We're gonna sit down, and because there's so much to talk about to help us
Oh,
protect
yeah.
this, hopefully generational wealth that we're all accumulating.
No,
So,
hopefully that
oh yeah,
generational
you're right,
wealth,
you're right. Let me
take
stop.
that out. We're not doing that. The
Absolutely.
generational wealth that is coming, that
It's
you're
here.
building and you're growing.
Absolutely. That is right here. Absolutely. So what keeps you fired up? What's your, inspiration? People say, what's your why? And I'm watching the time. I know I'm about to let you out of here. You've been very gracious. You can smell the food. I think she got some food cooking in the background.
I do some
But
meatloaf.
she's been so flexible. Man, I try to get her on, and I'm just glad to have you on here. But yeah, before you get to that meatloaf, what's your what inspires you, Ashley? What pumps you up and makes you keep going in the hard times?
For me, it's lifestyle and legacy.
That's
Um, I feel while I came from a very, middle class family. I can't say I struggled or any of that stuff. I can't, that's not my story. But I will say that there were things that I had to figure out on my own. And I don't want that for my children and the generations. I want them to have a leg up. So for me, it's creating a legacy that has impact at least 100 years from now.
Oh man.
Through real estate, through education, through financial literacy, through just overall excellence. That's my why. So everything I do feeds into that.
Heck yeah, making an impact generations down the road. That is beautiful. Well, we'll have to hopefully have you back on down. Not hopefully, we'll have you back on to keep watching
Yes.
that journey. And again, if folks are in Atlanta or even nationally, I know that she has a national network connection of state professionals. So if you need support or help anywhere in the way, if she doesn't have the answer, she'll definitely try to address it and help point you in the right direction. But Ashley, how can people reach out to you? Give us some of your platforms that you want people to hear and know about?
Sure. So the absolute best way to reach me is to schedule a call. So I'm sure Courtney has my link, so he'll include that below. But if you do want to reach out directly, my number is 404-491-7858. Again, that's 404-491-7858. You can also go to my website, xfmsolutions.net. So that's xfmsolutions.net. And I'm sure all of this will be in the video as well. But the absolute best way is to schedule a call. But I'm happy to speak with you through any of those methods.
Oh, that's so appreciative. And folks, again, this is the Life and Transitions Expert Podcast. On the YouTube, same name. Love you to check it out. At Courtney Rollins IG if you want to just hit me up with any questions or messages, or if you have a hard time finding this and want to find Ashley, we definitely will connect you. But Ashley, do you have any words of inspiration or that you would like to share with anyone who's trying to get started and trying to get over the hump?
I would say get plugged in, get the knowledge, and stay consistent.
There it is. Get the plugged in, get the knowledge, and stay consistent. Consistency,
That's
folks.
it.
There it
It's
is.
key. It's key. It's everything.
Well, life and transition experts, you see the acronym is LIGHT. So I appreciate you letting your light shine and shining bright up here with us.
Of
And
course. Thanks for
yeah,
having me.
there's no problem at all. All right, folks, until next time, I will chat with you all later. I'm going to make sure I stop the recording.